Hello, Patriots. Hello, Jeffrey. Good to see you here, Jeffrey. We're going to start off by playing the music and and we're going to talk to the kids. But before we do, and everybody can hear this, I've had such a day, Jeffrey, and I'm going to talk about it. But we're going to have a little talk with God before we go any further. Dear God, as we come to you tonight, please let us get through tonight's show. Please let us have a fun time, learn what we can learn, and be together as a family, Lord. Today has been one of those days, Lord, but I have not surrendered. I have not given in, and I have not complied. So I have no idea, Lord, what tonight's show will bring, but we're just coming to you. And for all the people that need your help, that needs an angel to sit on their shoulder to get them through this, Lord, we're asking you to make that happen. For all the people that's having birthdays, let it be the best day of their lives. And Lord, for our leaders who is doing everything that they're doing, help them bring this home so we can all live in this glorious world that you want of heaven on earth as we come to you and talk to you through our Savior, your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen and amen. Okay, I'll be right back, guys. I am going to say the pledge and play the music. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt as love is there. God bless the USA. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea. From Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'd rather stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt of this land. God bless the USA. God bless this country. And I'm proud to be an American. At least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless you. Yes, God bless USA. You know, as I told you guys all, Janet and Jeffrey and Bill, One Voice, Lynn, Jamie. Bill was, I mentioned your name. I said Bill, so I'm thinking I did. Anyway, guys, I've had one of these days. I come down to Ron's today, open the freezer to get something out of it, and oh boy. Open the refrigerator, get something out of it. Oh boy, wasn't working. So the freezer above the refrigerator, I took the time to take most of the stuff out of the freezer, take back to the big freezer in the hallway. I started working and couldn't tell if I got it fixed because his furnace was running and it's right there by the refrigerator. And it's like, let's put it this way. If it could go wrong today for me, it pretty much did. But now it's got better because I'm here with you guys. So I just come down here now and I thought, you know what? I'm going to start getting supper ready a little bit. So when the show's over, it ain't going to take much time to do it. And all I'm going to have to do is heat it up. I got one of those air fryers I was going to cook the meat in. Then I was going to cook some potatoes on the stove and went nothing on the stove. It's dead. Went to plug the air fryer in and it's dead. Here we go again. So it took me about 5 or 10 minutes to retrack every one of my steps today. And I got the stove and the air fryer. So I got everything running good. I really am truthfully amazed that when I went to turn this computer on tonight, it came on. I really am. But you know what? My mom and dad always told me and told Ron, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. And that's exactly Lynn and Jeffrey and Janet and Bill. One voice. That's exactly, and Ron's on right now. That's exactly what I wanted to talk about because, see, guys, everything we're going through, and I'm going to discuss this in a little bit, but I want you to remember one thing when I come back from talking to the kids. If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. You know, it's a good saying. It's a good thing to live by. So that being said, I want to talk to the kids. I want to talk to little Jimmy. And, you know, talking to little Jimmy, he's gone through so much. But as I said, what I'm going to talk about in a little bit, the saying I said, it applies right there. You know, no kid his age should have to go through
how about these Bears?
What he's went through at that age. But as I tell him, his mommy is walking every step with him. And someday, as the song says, someday they'll be together again. Just looking to see if anybody new came on.
Not too many.
Dean? Yep.
Serena or something.
Dean Hurst. So anyway, guys, I'm having a hard time seeing the name. So if I don't call you out, don't worry about it. But I did get chewed out the other day because Ella came on and she looked at me last night and she said, Papa, I said hi to you like 4 times the other night and you never acknowledged me. I didn't see her. I don't know what it is, but boy, right now I'm just having maybe I'll see if there's somehow I can change the background over here or make the font a little bit bigger. But anyway, Jimmy, everything's going to be okay. You still got Daddy and Grandpa and your brother and 2 sisters and everything's going to be okay. Then we have Patriot 11. And, I talked to him a lot about horses. I talked to him a lot about I want him to help us with this, getting a ranch. And today I had to take my little grandson to school. His dad had to go to work for his 1 day a month. And when I say that, don't think my son don't work, but he works upstairs in his bedroom. He has a setup up there that has his office. It's his office and his bedroom. And it's kind of funny because some days I'll walk up and it'll be in the middle of the afternoon and here's my son just sound asleep on his bed. But he works on a computer. He's good at what he does. And a project that might take some of his workers, because he's a boss, might take some of his workers all afternoon to do. He gets it done in an hour to an hour and a half. Hey, he's on a computer. No one can see him. He wants to take a nap. Let him take a nap. But I'm telling this story about Patriot 11 because as I was taking his boy to my little grandson to school today, I went by this one road off the highway, and it says farm for sale. I go, whoa. If that's the farm I think, boy, that house is way back, long lane, which gives me all that front room up there. Put a couple of horse barns up. I might have my spot. And I got very excited. I didn't get back and do it because dropping him off at school, I had to go the other way home, the back way. Otherwise, I got blocked in by all the kids. Kids driving to school, guys. I'm going to tell you, Janet and Dean. I'm going to tell you, Bill and Sarita. I'm going to tell you guys, it is sickening to take your grandkid to school like I did today. Not that I don't love to, because at first mile, I mean, he sat there like this. And I said, next time we do this, you can ride the bus. If you're not going to talk to me, ain't that right, Russ? If you're not going to talk to me, I'm not going to drive you to school. Now, man, he never shut up the rest of the way. But I dropped him off, and to see these kids, these high school kids driving to school, hear people, senior citizens that's worked their whole lives, just hoping to have a vehicle that they will run good enough to get them until we get to these magic moments. These kids are driving brand new trucks, $80,000 trucks. I had two of them turn in front of me. I come real close to dropping my grandson off at school and going to the high school, making sure I got the license plates and going into high school and say, hey, don't you think you better start having maybe they need to have someone out there or a cop sitting out there, because I'm telling you, and our school, Herscher High School, is notorious for losing kids while they're still in high school because, hey, I'm a rich farmer, or hey, my mom and dad's got to keep up with your mom and dad. So you're going to get an $80,000 truck to drive to school. But if you scratch it, we've had so many kids die. You know what? And this is my feelings. If you don't work after school, if you don't play sports after school, you should get your butt on the bus. That's my opinion. We're paying bus drivers $30 an hour. $30 an hour. We used to work in a factory with Ron, and together we didn't make $30 an hour. But boy, my sister-in-law, who is a bus driver, kids, she says, we'll just strike. We'll strike, because what the school needs to do is go back like they used to when I was a kid and in school. If you was a janitor, if you was a teacher, whatever, if you didn't have some activity after school, you drove the bus in the morning and you got $5 each way. But, inflation, so let's double it and give them $10 each way. I know someone that is a bus driver. I know several that are bus drivers. But one of them, she picks up in the morning. She drives almost 2 hours in the morning, almost 2 hours in the night. And then she goes and deals with kindergarten kids that are getting let out early. She gets 5 hours a day at $30 an hour. Oh my God. And then people like me and Ron has never had a child go to the high school, the school district. And I haven't had one since 80 something. My daughter was born I guess it was 2000. She was born in 86, so 96, 2004. When I had a kid, senior citizen, but we still, I was looking at Ron's taxes and guys, I'm all over the place. I've told you, I've had a bad day. I'm just trying to put a show together, but I'm going to get the kids in with everything. But over half of Ron's taxes for his property and everything went to the Herscher School District. A senior citizen, a veteran who is struggling to make ends meet. But boy, let's give them people there's at the school money so we can pay a bus driver $30 an hour. Are you freaking kidding me? But boy, let me tell you, then if you're driving and they don't like the way you're driving, they'll take your driver's license and turn you in. But, when I used to babysit the little monkey, I got run off the road by buses almost every other day. They're stupid. Yeah, if my sister-in-law sees it, they're stupid. Okay, I rant and rave. But anyway, kids, I did see the farm. I'm going to go take a closer look at it. Make sure exactly this is what I'm thinking about because, if and when this magic moment hits, kids, we're going to come into a lot of money. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit too. Money. But then we have Patriot Karate Kid and Patriot Wyatt are brave, courageous, and bold. And, great kids with a great mom. I really don't know the dad. I haven't really talked to him. I've talked to both kids. And I've talked to Michelle. They are Michelle Gillespie's kids. Patriots. Princess, our queen, and Patriot Hunter, her handsome little brother. And then our queen is just a little doll. Sports-minded. I think that's why I cling to her so much is because, she's so sports-minded. And that, but I found out this year, guys, sometimes you can play too much sports in today's world. Last summer, me and Patriot 7, we went fishing a lot. It was our thing. And we fished in this pond that not many people knew you could fish there. And we got into a bed of crappie one day, and we caught 37 crappie in a little over an hour. I mean, he looked at me and says, I've caught enough today, Papa. Can we go home? Well, going home meant going to Casey's to get him a slushie. That kid would drink 2 and 3 slushies. We'd only buy a dozen night crawlers at a time so we could leave the spot, go, 5-minute trip to get him another slushie, but we had to get another dozen night crawlers. But, it is what it is. And but he played baseball and he made the all-star team. And by the time that ended, then it was only like a week after football started. And football, I told you, he won a Super Bowl here a few weeks ago. And he said no time. Me and him got to go fishing 2 times this past summer. And one of them, they had plans, and we only got to go for about a half an hour. And, it is what it is. And, kids stay busy with, with their tablets. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes too. But anyway, then we have the boogers, Boogaloo, Boogaroo, and Boogie. And, they're John's grandkids. And the oldest one is she's just growing too fast. They all are. I mean, it seems like the baby was just born and now, she's all over the place. She's the 4 Bs, man. I mean, they're just growing like crazy. And John's constantly keeping me updated as Michael with Patriot little Leona and the grandma for Patriot little Leilon. She comes on the other night on Facebook and she said, I just got to start posting. I got to get pictures. So now her daughters are sending her pictures and I follow both of them on Facebook or they're friends of mine, whatever. And so I get to see pictures and they're just growing up so quick. I mean, slow down, and I'm going to talk about the slowing down and this and that very, very soon in that. But because I want to talk to you about Julia in a little bit, but I've already talked, super gymnast. She I was looking the other day and someone posted a picture of her cousin because she made honor roll, the high honor roll. And they didn't post a picture of Ella. Whoa, here's Ella, I mean, I tease her all the time. She's the smartest kid in the school. And, until someone can figure out how to be smarter, get nothing but A's on everything, I guess my thought is right. And speaking of her, today I was cleaning out my drawer. Dresser drawer. I was looking for something. And, once again, I lost something, but I was looking something in my dresser drawer and I happened to come across a green pamphlet. And when I did, I kind of got a tear in my eye because it was a pamphlet. It was the pamphlet that they handed out for the play she was in last year. And everybody give her, she's in 5th grade and it was for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And even the 8th grade, the 3 or 4 kids that was in 8th grade that had the biggest part in the play, they came down and said how amazing. I mean, she become friends with 8th graders who now this year are in high school, but they still associate with her. And it was a great experience. But see, I did something that no one else thought about, because when you get these pamphlets, and explains everything, everybody in it. I walked up to her and I handed her an ink pen, and I said, "Would you do me a favor?" And she said, "What?" I said, "Would you sign this?" And she says, "Sign it." I said, "Yeah, I want your autograph, because who knows, you may go on to be a tremendous actress someday, when they clean everything up, and you may become a tremendous actress. And I can always say that I've got the first autograph you ever give." And she gave me a big hug and said, "Wow." And then when I seen that today, I kind of choked up, because I hadn't thought about it for a while. But it's just amazing when we put these kids in our lives like this. Patriot, 7, I've already talked about the fishing. Patriot Small Hanky's the one I took to school today. But I also wanted to talk, remember, I said I wanted to talk about the tablets. And talking about the tablets, it's something that I took him to school. I had to get up and get him to school, because his mom has to get to school, take little Kira to the babysitter. And then they had something to do tonight. My son don't get home till about 7. So I said, "No problem. I'll be there." I told my son last night, "I'll be there. I'll take him to school or put him on a bus, whichever he wants to do. Then I'll turn around and I'll go ahead and I'll be there when he gets home from the bus. And if you're not home, Brandon, before the show starts, I'll take him down to Uncle Ron's and you can just pick him up down there." Well, as we're getting ready to walk out the door, he says, "Wait a minute, Grandpa Hank." He says, "I got to go get my tablet." He goes and gets his tablet. And he puts it in his book bag. And I said, "What are you taking your tablet to school for?" "Well, my mom told me to take it because you're not picking me up." I said, "What do you mean?" "I mean, I'm not coming home tonight." "Where are you going?" "Well, I'm walking to a friend's house." And I'm thinking, why? Now me and my son settled this last night, but then the daughter-in-law, she had to step in, and hey, Lady Anita. Papa G, good to see you. Russ, good to see you. I think I said hi to David, but if not, I'm going to say it again. Hi, David. So anyway, little Kira, she had an appointment yesterday at Coomer's, and from my knowledge, from what I've understood, everything is going good. And I'm telling you guys, no little kid should have to go through what she's had to go through. But boy, is she a whirlwind now. Holy moly. It's hard to believe that on the 13th of December, it'll be 3 years ago, that I got a call from Brandon and said, "You got a granddaughter," which we knew she was going to be a little girl because they had the test run. But, sometimes that can be off. And I said, "Okay, what's your name?" And they told me. And he calls me back about 10 minutes later and said, "Dad, can you watch Jason," which is who I call Small Hank. I said, "What's up?" He says, "I'm heading to Chicago and Mandy's still going to be in the hospital." I said, "What do you mean you're heading to Chicago?" He said, "They're taking Kira up to the hospital. There's something wrong with her." You want to talk about your heart going down into your stomach? You're standing there all by yourself, tears running down your face. You don't know if you'll ever see your granddaughter. Don't know if you'll ever hold her. But boy, that's what so much happiness, because I got God and Jesus Christ in my life, and I prayed to him every day, and I talked to him every day. And now you would have never known this little girl was ever sick. I think the only reason she has to go in for these checkups now is because the nurses and the doctors at Coomer's love her so much that they just want to see her. She definitely is a miracle little girl. I mean, I walked into the kitchen, last night, and she was getting in the cupboard, getting some of her Halloween candy. And it's surprising she was doing that, because usually when she wants candy, she comes and gets me by the hand and walks me to the kitchen, and I get her the candy, because if I give it to her, Mommy and Daddy don't say anything. If she goes and gets it by herself, she might get yelled at. Boy, I walked in the kitchen, "Get out of here, get out of here." I said, "Man, this is my kitchen. You ain't kicking me out of my," and me and her I literally got in an argument with a 2.5, 3, almost 3-year-old little girl. I think I won. I think, but I don't know. Then they had milk in the refrigerator, a full gallon, and then a gallon that had about that much in a bottle. And she opens the refrigerator door and she takes the lid off. And I said, "You want a glass?" She said, "Nope." And I said, "Well, what are you going to clean?" She just takes it, the gallon, not even 3 years old, gallon, tips it up. She drank and drank and drank. I said, "Are you going to come up for air?" Not until it was gone. I mean, there had to be over a 16-ounce glass of milk still left in that. And she just one time up and she finished it. So anyway, guys, that pretty much does it for the kids tonight. And I know I veered off, but I had things I wanted to say. But remember this video is not made for children. You can watch it under the discrepancy and permission of your parents, legal guardians, or grandparents. Also, the music that we played, the music that we played tonight, we have no legal rights to. We played it because it's become our theme song, and we use it for entertainment purposes only for our group. And I figured if it's good enough for the hat, it's good enough for us too. But it doesn't matter what kind of day you're having, guys. It always seems to be a thing that we can overcome anything. I mentioned earlier, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. And that's one of the subjects I wanted to talk about in the show tonight. If it does, Mom and Dad used to always tell me, I might get my butt beat by one of the bigger kids and that. And I go home and she said, it didn't kill you. It's going to make you stronger for the next time. And I've kind of lived by that theory because it was instilled in my head so much from my parents. I think of more people. What do you think, John? If more people would think that way. Hey, Diane VA's here. Good to see you. Tony, I think I said hi to you, but Gary's here. And Gary's here, and I was just talking to someone today and something was said and a song of theirs came into my head from Gary Puckett and the Union Gaps, this girl is a woman now. She's learned how to live, and it's just amazing because I have this uncanny way of doing things. But earlier today, Patriot Savior, she sent me this video from Patriot Princess. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. That's one of my son's favorite expressions. I'm not going to lie to you. And I'm thinking, well, why would you even say that? I hope you don't ever lie to me. I'm your dad. But when she sent me this picture of Patriot Princess, I was kind of hoping it was going to be one of them like she posted during the summer where she's walking on the beach in that bikini, I mean, I'm a man and, I like to watch her walk on a beach in her bikini, but it wasn't. And what it was a dealing of what if, the 22nd, I believe it was, I'd like to play it, but she says certain names in it that I'm afraid we get in trouble. But she says, what if the hat death is related to JFK's death or supposed death? Because his death is coming up the 22nd of this month. And, there's a lot of things coming up this month, guys, that just little things. And one of these times, one of them's going to hit. And she says, what if that is? What if some of the people that we think are good, they're really not good, but the hat is smart enough to keep them close to them? And then went on to talk about vice presidents, about how I don't know exactly the word to use, but not good the vice president was for JFK, and we all know who that was. Big Ears Johnson. Man, that guy had a man. I mean, he had to have headaches all the time, as big as them ears was. That had to be weighting him down. But anyway, we know he was bad. Well, our vice president now, who what I see when I hear him talk, I like, but he once worked for the bad organization. His wife worked for the bad organization the same way as Lady Bird Johnson did. So what if, because we all know about JFK and what we know that people would think if we told them that we was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But was JFK similar to the hat and always 10 moves ahead of the people? So let's keep Mr. Johnson and these other and in a hat keeping Mr. Vance close. I've heard a lot over the years. Sarita, Janet, and David, John, have you've probably heard things about Mr. Vance? I hope they're not, because I'd like him. Then he go on to talk about how the revealing is the things that was going to be revealed is going to be mind-boggling to so many people. Hi, Cindy. How you doing? You still got that kidney, Cindy? Because I got two. If you want to borrow one, hey, if we're a match, it's yours, sweetie. But only if you got one. I'm not giving you one, because I'm not going down to one and let you have two. Yeah, I would. But anyway, I can tell you right now, guys, Cindy is wherever she's watching from, and she's laughing probably hard enough that she's got tears coming down her face. So anyway, are we setting all these bad people up because we're staying ahead of them? We keep saying, well, we're going to do this. Well, then they counterpunch by trying to be there to stop it while we're actually doing something else. Now, I have heard that pretty much everybody is taken down. Hey, Wallace, Family Channel. Okay, Cindy just clarified. She now has both kidneys again. And guys, for those who don't know, I think Cindy was having trouble. If you haven't was on the show that night, Cindy posted on one of our sites and she says, I need prayer. I have a kidney. And I think she was trying to tell us that she was having trouble with one of her kidneys. And, smart aleck like me, I couldn't let that go. But we chatted later on, and she said she really needed the laugh. And that's what I try to do. I was talking to someone the other day, and they said, you seem like a really nice guy. And I said, well, I try to be. I said, I'm the type of guy, I'm happy. And when I go out, if I go to the market like Walmart or Burkhart's or any place I go, I walk by a lot of people. And I don't care if I know them. I'm going to talk to them. What's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to punch me in the nose? I haven't got it yet. So, but I get people who's walking around like this, just mad at the world, and I get them to smile. And I remember this story about this one lady. She had her 3 kids in Walmart one day, and she was having a terrible day. She's a beautiful woman, but her kids were driving her up the wall. And it seemed like every aisle, and it seemed like it because I was planning it, that I would always meet her. And I'd say hi. And then I waited for her to get ready to go get in line, and I stood behind her. Not stalking her, but I just wanted to talk to her. And the kids wanted candy, and she says, we're having a bad month. I do not have the money for candy. Next month, everything will be fine, but something come up. We got the bare essentials. I looked and I said, can I buy him a candy bar? No, that's not necessary. I said, I'm not trying to put you down, but I have a little extra money. Can I buy him a candy bar? And she said, would you? And I said, I offered, but I'm not going to buy him one if you're going to get mad. And I said, and I've been trying this whole store to get you to smile. And I says to her, I says, plus the fact, I mean, the bare essential she got was probably only $23 to $30. Wasn't much. And when I finished ringing her up, I said, don't do nothing to the lady at the counter. She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I've only got a few items here too. I'm going to pay for both of us. And the lady, the mom, looked and said, no. I said, no, you're having a bad month. Who knows? Maybe a month from now, 2 months from now, we'll meet in the store again and I'll be having a bad month and you can help me or you'll see someone else. But I said, the only way I pay for you, which is going to allow you to put your $20-some in your pocket, your kids are going to get their candy. I said, the only way I'm going to do it is if you give me the most beautiful smile you've got. And I'm telling you, she could have lit up a room with a smile she gave me. She took her stuff and got her kids and she walked out to the car and there was a cart rack right there. She could put it there. But she started walking towards me when she seen me come out. I got my stuff put away and I'm going to the cart rack and she walked out of her way to go. She looked at me and she said, I haven't stopped smiling since you got me to. It feels really good that no matter how bad a day you're having, when someone steps up and helps you, it makes you feel a lot better. And guys, that's what I'm trying to emphasize. If you want to keep your vibrations up, and that's what we have to work on. And I'm going to cover that in a few minutes. We have to work on something like that, see, because no matter how bad a day we're having, I mean, me and Ron something was going on yesterday or 2 days ago. Don't remember what it was. Neither one of us is in a very good mood. And all of a sudden, he turned on where we're at now, YouTube. He started watching this little video. He said, you got to watch this. And he sends it over to me and I watched it. Me and him both sat there and I swear we laughed for 5 minutes. And all of a sudden, them problems, John and Janet, Tony and David, Wallace, they went away. See, there's no problems that we can't handle. So now what I want to discuss a little bit about is two things from two peoples out there that they get a lot of followers. A lot of people believe in them. But there's one gentleman out there, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he kind of got a beard and, kind of older gentleman and kind of goes by a big part of his name. And, he might be a daddy or something. And I'm on YouTube, on TikTok today, and it pops up that he's doing a live. So I go over to the live. And he's talking about gold and silver. Well, see, as Burl Ives says at this time of year, it's silver and gold, but he's talking about silver, how he believes in silver because number one, if you wear silver, it helps your body. Okay. I've heard that. Gold does nothing. Gold is the demon. Okay. Hadn't heard that. So we have a bunch of leaders that we all love that are nothing but demons because they just went and recovered how many trillions of dollars worth of gold so we could have a better life. But he was emphasizing a point. You need to take your gold, and it works by the ounce. You need to cash it in. You need to get silver. And he's harping on this about doing this and investing in silver and getting rid of your gold and that. And in the box, I go, you're going to get in trouble. He comes back and he says, what do you mean I'm going to get in trouble? I said, are you a financial advisor? He goes, no. Then I said, truthfully, you can't be telling people this unless you say, guys, this is my personal opinion. And please note, I am not a financial advisor. To say he got a little bit ticked off at me is an understatement because now in the boxes, the people are chatting. He's 100% right. If I was to go and sell my gold and then all of a sudden gold would explode and I'd lose all this money, I'd be very upset Because he loves silver doesn't mean that everybody's going to. And isn't what we're all trying to do is build a portfolio so we can live a great life? But I get aggravated when someone says, well, sell this. Because when I talk, about all I ever talk to you about getting is either XRP, which is the number one thing, or XLM. Now, I haven't checked XRP out today, but I know last night it was down to 219, and people saying, oh, I've had people go, you talked to me, you told me. I did not tell you to buy. I said a good investment will be there. But remember, I am not a financial advisor. These same people that wrote me nasty notes will be writing me love letters in the sand when this explodes, because, folks, it's going to explode. It's about ready to go. I was watching a video today, and they said if they allow XRP to run like Bitcoin was allowed to do, with the backing that XRP and even XLM, but I'm just talking about XRP now, with the backing that XRP has from all of the countries, what they're planning to use XRP for, all of these countries, he said it could hit $1 million for each one. Hello. No darkness. I mean, guys, I don't tell anybody to buy anything. I was talking about Cindy and her one kidney. I talked about XRP one show, and Cindy, she went and bought some. She's very happy. Guys, just because it's down now. I mean, okay, I was fortunate. I've been speaking about XRP as a great investment for a long time, whether people listen or not. Me and Ron have quite a bit. Nothing. I mean, I'm not talking a huge amount, but we have what's going to make us very, very nice. But until the other day, about 4 weeks ago, he took a little money and bought almost 100. I took a little money and bought almost 100. And we did that. So say like it goes to $5,000 or $10,000. We're going to cash what we had just bought there in, and we're going to have some money to live on. But the original, see, we only average paying between 30 and 40 cents for the original. And I will say this, we have over 1,000 of the original, and we average about 30 to 40 cents. So at 219, it's still a win-win for us. Now, is it what we want? No. But then again, we haven't reevaluated. We haven't went to the big N, big G. We haven't went to the quantum financial system. We haven't did any of these things. So when we do, when these countries start using this as the way to send money, not just from Buckingham, Illinois to Boston, Massachusetts, but every country in the world is going to be using this, then we're going to be, as they say, home free. Another gentleman that I read something today, and this gentleman is on, I don't know, his third, fourth NDA. People ask me, he says, Patriot 5, are you worried about an NDA? I said, nope. Because if I need to keep my mouth shut, I can. Am I going to disappoint some of my family members when they see me maybe driving a brand new car? Well, see, I've figured a way how to do that. If I want to give people money, I'll write them a check. But when I write them the check and I hand it to them, you didn't get it from me. You come into some money. And I will be telling them this outside, no watches, no phones, no anything, just out in the middle of nowhere. And if they agree, they'll sign an NDA that I make up, that they lose everything, they get no more, because they will. I'm not worried about an NDA. But this gentleman has told us now at least 3 times he's on an NDA. But he's always on talking and telling us. And now One voice, Janet, John, Larry Smith, Russ, Cindy, anybody that's over here, I'm going to ask you a question. Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Are you sick and tired of things not going the way they're supposed to? See, because if you are, you're like Ron and myself. You keep going, you keep believing. Yep, it will go back up. You keep believing, but you're tired. But you're not going to go out and yell at people on a site because they want to just let some steam out and say something. They're watching us. I know because I'm right in the middle of it. This man has been telling us that they are starting to pay for 3 freaking months. For 3 months, he's been telling us we're already paying. We're already paying. The same people that he's been telling us, and guys, I lie. But when I tell you something, it's because I read it. Other people are telling me, and I want it to be true. If it is, great. You're not going to see me break a story and want you to pat me on my back because I'm your hero. That's not me. But I said here, trying to build you up and tell you, there's people out there that, yes, they're good. But the same people that I just mentioned, we need to just be quiet. Well, I'm going to tell you the same thing. We'll be quiet if you start giving information out for free and quit charging people who's losing their homes, who don't have a car, who don't have a roof over their head, but they'll give you whatever they got to get your information, and you're living the life of a king right now. These people like this don't give a rat's ass if we get the 800 numbers or what. They're making money hand and foot. And yes, you see, I get a little excited. I get a little upset when people like that try to tell me to calm down because they're on an NDA, but they don't shut their damn mouth. So an NDA, according to this person, should be pretty easy to handle. And I'm sorry, I got a little riled up there. But so last night, my partner in crime, Marianne, she wasn't able to make giving me the announcement, so I had to bite the bullet, and I went in and I listened to Bruce and the big call. And as I'm listening to it, it was almost like the song by the Beach Boys. We'll have fun, fun, fun until Daddy takes it away. And I'm thinking, I'm going to read to you Carpathia's explanation of what Bruce said. And I'm going to do this, guys, because I listened to him. And the only thing I made out of him was we really need to take this time right now to purchase Sue's products or buy products from Bob. Money, money, money. I mean, these are 3 people I mentioned tonight that is supposed to be helping us, and they will as long as you give them the cha-ching. But anyway, here's what Carpathia has to say. From Bruce on 11/18/2025, we were told to go by Wednesday, and then ISO 2022 raised its head, and okay, that is supposed to be activated on the 22nd, which is Saturday. Bruce thinks, well, we heard from one source that we do not need ISO 2022 implemented before it goes. Then this afternoon, we had intel coming in that, well, we may have to wait for ISO 2022 to take effect on Saturday. Then 5 minutes before the call tonight, Bruce got intel call that said we may not get notified. We may not. Wait a minute. We may get notified after ISO 2022 either Saturday or Sunday, and then start exchanging on Monday or Tuesday. But wait, Bruce knows President the Hat wants it to go before Thanksgiving. If we have to wait for the ISO 2022 to be implemented, when it would be Sunday night, we could get notified then tomorrow, Thursday, then slide. We could get notified then tomorrow or Thursday, then slide to Saturday or Sunday for notifications, or to Monday with exchanges on Tuesday. Bruce says he did not want to get that kind of call 5 minutes before the big call today, but he got it from a strong source, and it does not look like before Thanksgiving, but Bruce thought it would be this week. See, what I was telling you, he's talking in circles. He didn't think we'd get it before Thanksgiving, but it probably is gonna be this week. If someone can do a gematria on that, tell me what it means, because we probably won't get it till after Thanksgiving, but we should get it this week. Makes absolutely no sense to me, but that's okay. This means possibly you get Wednesday or Thursday, but most likely over the weekend. Monday, President the Hat wants it to go out before the 27th, Thanksgiving, and we have this form, the 24 to 25. Bruce is frustrated, but this is only he hearing. He heard ISO 2022 may be needed to go before we go. So literally, he just contradicted and said the same thing 3 times. But he was able to get 8.5 minutes on the show. The tariff dividends from Scott Pezet appear that they may need to have congressional approval before the $2,000 deposits go out. But appellate court judge tried to stop it, but then it was resumed. For R&R, we think it will be Redemption Center. No word on Doge. The biggest thing we are looking for are the 800 numbers and that. No rates on Redemption Center screens today. We know that President the Hat had a call with a gentleman from the Central Bank of Iraq and with Sudani, and then told them they could have the green light and let's go after Sunday night. So we thought we were looking good for this week, and that is the last report of Iraq. Right now, what we are concentrating on is when the emails are coming out, getting the 800 numbers and setting up. Still lots of cleanup going on, and some cleanup taking place with some judges blocking these. But for now, we will go with the President Hat wants for us. We have established rates for dinar and dong. They are trying to get the Bolivar rates up again. Bruce is told there is no second basket. There is only one basket with 31 different currencies in the basket. President the Hat wants us to have a great Thanksgiving, and he has to make an announcement Thanksgiving morning. Now, to me, President the Hat making an announcement Thanksgiving morning, who's going to listen to it? They're either going to be watching the parade. Some people are going to say, hey, this is my chance before Turkey Day dinner to go out and see if I can get a deer. People's going to be running hectic, watching maybe, I think it's the Macy's parade. In a nutshell, here's my honest opinion. My honest opinion is this, that it's going to go when it's going to go. I'm tired of listening to the President of the Hat wants it to go before this and that. I guarantee you guys, President of the Hat will have a tremendous, tremendous Thanksgiving. I've also heard that if it doesn't go by Thanksgiving, it will go right after or early in December because he's giving us our blessings for Christmas. Turn back the hands of time, guys. It's the same thing that was said last year. But I have a different feeling. I have this feeling inside me that I really believe it is going to go. I really do. These beds are going to be let go. And I want to tell a quick story about these beds because, as you all know, I have a young lady that I write in the Ukraine. Her name is Julia, and I'm 71 and she's 38. And in the letter I wrote her last night, I said, I talked to her a lot about the beds and she wants to see pictures of them. Ron told me I need to get some pictures of all three of them and then explain to her what each one does. And I've explained to her before, but if I get the pictures and I can explain, I think she'll understand it a little bit better. But when I wrote her, I says, I'm 71. My dad was 79 when he passed away. My mom was 84. If I'm able to live as long as my mom, that only gives us 13 years, and you're still not here. Is it fair to you for you to come here to be with me just for 13 years? And her answer today was, I'd come if I only had 13 days. She's a very sweet young lady, but when I said this, then she brings up to me about the 13 days. She says, Ralph, she says, remember, we have these special beds. And by the time you get off of them 3 beds, you're going to feel younger than I do. And for people that live in a country that their kids do not know what it's like to go out and play for fear that something might happen to them. In that country, what former presidents of, what country I'm talking about, you might live in it, did to this country with children. And that is the reason that Putin is in there right now. And she's finally opened her eyes that she actually told me the other day, you was right all along. But I didn't want to go and say it because she loves her country. It used to be a beautiful country. It was. And now her main concern is when it's over, we're all going to be happy. Everybody's going to be happy. But look at all the empty chairs that's going to be at the supper tables. Look at the beds that won't be slept in again because these kids, men and women, will not be coming home. And guys, when you have to go into a underground, like I can't think of what they're called. You have to go underground to stay safe. It's not good. And sometimes they've had to do it for as many as 2 and 3 days in a row. Their power is never good. But here's something from movie that I kind of might have touched on. I'm getting annoyed when people start criticizing our intel providers when things don't go their way. We don't control this, as we only go by what we are hearing from boots on the ground. We all work hard to help the community, and we are not here to start playing with people's feelings. Please respect everyone that is trying to do something. If it doesn't resonate with you, then you don't have to listen to them. What I can tell you is that the money is definitely moving and the profit contracts are getting paid. All we can do is have faith and pray that the same comes, that have faith in God and pray that it comes before the end of November. Guys, I think what we have to do is just sit back, relax, take a break. We need to take a break and just keep our vibrations up. There's a song, when you're feeling blue, all you have to do is take a look at you. That's all you have to do, guys. If you're feeling down like Cindy or Ann or Jeffrey or Janet, Tony, and, if you're feeling low, get on one of the chats and just start talking to someone. It's amazing with just talking. You know, today, I told you when I came on, I had no idea what kind of show I was going to have. I mean, my today was, if it can go wrong, it's going wrong. But yeah, we got through a show. We're almost at an hour. I was going to say we had 90 people. And just as I was going to say it, we went down to 86. I can't put into words what it means when you guys come out 3 nights a week and back around and myself. Is our numbers down? Yes. I mean, we got right now on the show what we got. A lot of these big time people wouldn't even start their show until they got 3 times that. I quit following certain people because, well, we're not going to start until we got at least 250 people here. We used to have the big numbers, but people has got tired. They're still doing it, but they just don't feel like getting on our show. I have some great friends that have just pretty much poof, like the magic dragon, but I still talk to them. They still believe. And that's what we got to do. Just keep the belief. If you guys noticed, if you was on, and a lot of you wasn't, but if you go and watch this repeat, you know, on when it's put back up, I did something that I haven't done for a while. I don't know why I got away from it. I just did. But I said a prayer tonight because I thought to myself, if I'm having a bad day, a lot of others might too. And maybe starting the show off with a prayer is something we might have to start doing again. Good night, Tony. So anyway, Tony's ready to go. So that's my cue that it's time for me to go. I'm going to go get some supper. I promise you we'll have a great show Friday, maybe Thursday. Who knows? Hey, keep the faith that it's going to go. It's going to happen. We just don't know when. But until then, we can come on the shows 3 nights a week and we can chat. Continue chatting in other groups. Guys, we have something special here with this family. It may be small, but it's mighty. I love each and every one of you, as Ron does too. And we'll see you on Friday night, if not before. Have a great night. Good night and God bless.